song for a movie podcast. Some are pretty good, but we'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns. Let's go!
Hello and welcome back to Cinema Buns. I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
And I'm the world champ.
Heavyweight. Fuck. Good job, Kevin.
He gave it his best shot.
He did what he could. Yes, we're interrupting our film schedule, our film festival release schedule, because we got into a couple of early screenings and we like big numbers, so we're releasing them before the movie does. So we're talking about Creed 3.
We don't get an opportunity like this often, so
We're gonna capitalize it if we can.
now we're big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creed 3. If you don't know, it's the third Creed.
It's based off of the 90s grunge band. You may have heard their song
I thought Creed
Higher.
was like a Christian rock band.
I don't know.
Yeah. Can you take me higher?
I was thinking of something else. Never mind.
What were you thinking of?
I was thinking Nickelback.
Is
I
Nickelback
mean-
Christian?
No.
No.
Is
but
the photograph the Bible?
No, the photograph is
A picture of the Last Supper in your parents' bedroom?
Whoa!
This is the last thing your dad ate. Anyways, so yeah, we continue following the story of Adonis Creed, and we go into Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking nerd.
Yeah. So okay, how about this? Which ones have you guys seen? Because this is the first one I saw.
All of them.
Well, we saw the first two Creeds together.
Yes.
And then we all watched the Rocky movies kind of just separately throughout history because
I was about to
they've
say.
been playing since like 84.
Yeah.
I think Rocky Balboa, which is Rocky 5, is the one I remember the most just because it's like somewhat recent.
Yeah.
But everyone, Rocky 4 is part of the zeitgeist. It's why Dolph Lundgren's name is remembered. It's kind of like why it's household. And I think it's the one that, just because of like the time, it's part of the height of the Red Panic. It was like a big...
Fuck the Russians.
It was a big anti-communist sentiment at the time. So like having our...
Look at how the communist is cheating with steroids.
As
Rocky is humble.
it's our two superheroes coming together to fight.
Yeah.
And then Rocky wins. Also, kind of like a really cool character arc because like Apollo Creed was like kind of the rival villain character for the first 4 Rocky movies.
Because originally Apollo was only boxing Rocky just as like a warm up before a big fight. He did not give a shit about Rocky.
Yeah.
Then he wins in the first match. And then in the second movie, it's him being so upset that Rocky lasted the whole match that he's like, no, we're doing a rematch and I'm fucking putting him down. And then he won.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just continues from there.
The first 2 Creed movies were like, because like Sylvester Stallone really loves like Rocky as a story and everything. But
because it was his first movie and he had to sell his dog so he could...
Rambo, that was his first movie.
No. I think it was Rocky because he literally was shopping Rocky around relentlessly. And at one point, it's the story everyone tells about Rocky is that he had to sell his dog to get enough money for food while he was shopping it around. And then eventually he was able to buy the dog back after production. So yeah, Rocky was his first movie in 1976. And then Rambo wasn't until later. Hold on. I'm
Oh shit! Rocky
confirming.
came out from. Okay, yeah, that would make sense because 4 is I remember it as like kind of an 80s movie. But yeah, so Sylvester Stallone like really loved this character and like kind of just like this world that he's built, but like he ended.
I'm 100% wrong, by the way. Not his first film. His first film is The Square Root in 1969.
Yeah, but it's like I thought Rambo
It's like
was
a student film.
Rambo is Rambo not like his
Debut?
his like foray into like writing and directing?
No, that would be Rocky.
But like Creed 2 is where he kind of just like has an end to his character arc. He went out on a really good note.
Yes, he did.
In Creed 2. And like it's kind of like one of my more favorites of the two. Like I kind of like Creed 2 a little bit better than the first one. Even 2 is a little bit of a rehash of 4. It's a spiritual successor to it since it's like the next generation of fighters.
Yeah.
It was a Drago versus Rocky thing again.
And it's also kind of talking about like kids inheriting like
yeah, it's inheriting their like
dad's
the
beefs.
the sins of the father from MGS.
God.
And then they like Dolph Lundgren, you know, has a cameo in it, and they hash it out. Him and Sylvester Stallone like hash it out. And Rocky has a really like. I don't know if it would have been better if like spoilers for Creed 2, by the way. If like it would have been better if Rocky died, but like I really like the ending of him being at those like gravestones for his wife and
Polly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a like a bookend for it. So Creed 3 is like he also wanted to like kind of just like pass the mantle on to Michael B. Jordan. And that's what Creed 3 is. It's Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut with like zero Sylvester Stallone involvement in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's him 100%. This is my movie now.
yeah, and Rocky is not in it at all.
Yeah.
It's
He's referenced briefly, but he's not a major player
Right.
in this at all. Granted, I mean, kind of like with all boxing movies, I mean, it kind of plays similar to most movies, but I feel like the way it does the like climactic conflict felt more organic than in some other movies.
There's something interesting about this one in that the Rocky franchise and Creed additionally has always been an underdog story.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And so like that's very easy to do for Creed 1 because like Adonis is like a troubled teen or a troubled young adult that gets discipline from Rocky, and then it wasn't like a championship match in the first one, right?
No.
It was just like kind of a boxing match.
No,
that
he did do a championship, I think.
Um,
Because like it starts out with him doing like fights in Tijuana.
yeah, it was like an amateur boxer. And then Creed 2 is just like a Sins of the Father type story. Creed 3, we're at a point where like
Sins of Myself.
yeah. Creed 3 is very much about Adonis.
Naruto. Oh.
It's about Naruto. It's a story about his family and his life and like the thing that he's built because he's at the top now, and it's like, how do you make that into an underdog story again? And like I think they took an interesting.
You root
Yeah, they did.
against the underdog. Fuck the underdog. Let him die.
No, but they do a cool thing where
He's old. He's getting older, and
He's
he doesn't
old.
box.
and yeah, he's been out of the game for a while. He's in like kind of the management role, so he's like a little bit untrained. And the underdog story shifts into Jonathan Majors' character because he just got out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like never been professionally fighting like while he's there. So that's where the underdog mantle gets put on him, and then they come to head in like towards the climax of the movie because like as the trailers show, it's supposed to be like him confronting his past, and then like it's not really of a spoiler. He fights Jonathan Majors in this movie, and the way they kind of just like reintroduce him as the underdog is by him getting like weakened a little bit just because he's been out of the game. He's old. I mean, in that sport, you have to be in like your teens and 20s in order to that's where your career is, and then as soon as you pass 30, then you're practically dead.
Yeah.
And like he becomes like kind of the underdog again, and it's kind of just like really fascinating and cool how Michael B. Jordan was able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw Creed with you, Creed 3 with you guys, and then I went back to watch Rocky, the first one, because I've never seen any of the Rocky movies, or even any of the Creed movies. This
Yes.
is like the first thing introduced to me. Like I've seen the memes, and I know the overarching.
So wait,
story
you
in
watched Rocky after we saw Creed 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you disappointed there wasn't a chicken chasing scene in this movie?
I mean, that was funny.
Yeah.
There is in the second one.
So
in Creed
yeah,
2.
like
in Creed 2, yeah.
Rocky is definitely a movie of its time, but it's also still really good.
Yeah.
It's because like Sylvester Stallone is a very sentimental person.
Yes.
He fucking loves this shit, and
he does,
and I live for it too.
Yeah.
No, he plays his role
This is my
spectacular.
turtle.
Yeah.
He's just my best friend.
Like him trying to be charming, like in like an awkward way, is great.
Yeah,
It's so good. And then,
one of the earliest himbos.
yeah,
You almost forget about the Italian stallion.
yeah. And then just like his like apartment, it's like everything that holds his like hat and his like jacket and stuff is like a freaking machete, and then like a trench knife, and I'm like, what?
Like minimal furniture and
Yeah.
just the bare necessities. You guys have seen
rolled
that?
up bed for a punching bag, and
Oh god, that's so good.
Yeah.
You guys seen that like kind of just like image that's floating around on the internet, and it's just kind of like a bare ass apartment with just a beanbag chair and a TV.
yeah,
And like
how do men live?
how
like
Yeah.
do, women are like, how do men live like this? And then all the men are like, dude, that's all you need.
yeah, like he got his fish, and he's just like, just feeding them a little bit, and he's all happy about it.
Yeah.
Like it's so endearing. And then like, yeah, like it goes through like the list of like things, the arc that he needs to do to be the underdog.
Uh-huh.
And then I look back at Creed 3, and I'm like, this is so anime.
Yeah.
It's still good, and it still hits the numbers, but it's like I really like stories like this, because like, yeah, it's the story beats are the same, but how they go about them is always a blast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, I mean, kind of shifting back to Creed 3, because yeah, in this movie, like he's had his time at the top, and now he's just kind of going into his coaching and like
He's like a suit wearing
yeah.
manager.
he's like
Yeah.
developing boxers and stuff, because like for those that don't know too much about boxing, it's pretty rare when fighters keep fighting after they're like 30 or 35. Usually by that time they're like, you need to stop. There is a list of like 10 boxers who became professionals after they were 30. It does not happen too often.
That old man strength.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're hitting 35, that's when like trainers and stuff are like, are you sure you want to keep boxing, dude? Like,
Unless you're like just Brock Lesnar and like you're 40 years old, but you're still bigger than a house.
oh yeah, that's not saying it can't happen. It's just not common. But
Right.
yeah, so he's retiring, and like I kind of like the, again, going back to the conflict, because like the whole story arc is like, this is an old friend he had who like he started a fight with someone, and he started getting beat up by that guy's friends. And
Did we all see the trailer? Because I barely remember the.
I did
Creed
not
trailer.
see the
it's in the
trailer.
trailer. It's basically
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's spoiler free.
spoiler free is the friend helped him stop getting beat up, but he got arrested instead of Adonis.
Okay, right.
Right.
So like there's that inherent guilt, and like, because he comes out and he's like, man, you did great, you really went all the way
You
and
went the
stuff,
distance.
and I kind of want to box too, and he's doing it out of guilt, and also he genuinely is like, yeah, we'll do that, and then things start to spiral from there.
Yeah, because like I think it's safe to say that God, what the fuck is it? Dame is Jonathan Majors' character. He was actually like a really good amateur boxer.
Yes.
And so being put in prison and like taking his like 20s away from him robs him of the opportunity to realize his dream. And so the added dynamic of your best friend who like was like the person that was like helping you in your boxing journey take your dream from you.
Yeah.
While you were like locked up, there it added that like extra layer of like conflict between them.
Oh, absolutely.
That Creed can also see, and like it adds that like little bit of like uncomfortableness when he comes back out and they like
Right.
reconnect.
Because when they start like having Dame help out and stuff, like Adonis's like trainer and like partner at the
Duke,
gym and stuff, even he's like, dude, this is not a good idea.
What was cool is like
He's angry. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
There's like it's like kind of like cliched because like Duke is the coach of Dame's fighter when he was in Golden Gloves. Yeah, like you see him in the flashback. So Duke knows what Dame is like.
Right.
But it's a little bit weird that they're all connected.
Yeah. But yeah, because it shows, because he's like, dude, this isn't a good idea. He's got a chip on it. And like, you kind of see that develop as the movie goes on. And we're going to avoid spoilers until like a little bit later in the episode. But
Don also challenges that, like, isn't that the same as like me?
Right.
yeah.
So give him the same chance that
I received.
That I received.
Now, I do like kind of the character build with his wife and his kid and stuff and his mom. Everything felt in place. There wasn't any weird character shifts or anything.
Right.
Everyone felt like they kind of still fit into the role they set for him in an organic way.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to give that to Michael B. Jordan. He kind of kept a lot of things organic and like faithful to the previous Creed movies.
Mm-hmm.
And
because I think the first two Creed movies were written by Coogler, Ryan Coogler, and then this third one is written by he's in a production role, but Ryan's brother, Kyle something maybe, the other Coogler wrote this movie with Michael B. Jordan, so it was like something that they worked on.
Oh, okay.
by the way, this isn't a big spoiler. It's because it doesn't have too much in there, but I do really like the Vegeta ass comeback of Drogo Jr. Because literally
Victor Drago.
Yeah, because he shows up and Kevin literally leans over to me. He's like, "This Vegeta motherfucker, they're best friends now."
Yeah, they're helping each other.
And it reminds me of like a post I saw where it's like, all right, two men hate each other. They fight. They're now best friends for life. Two women hate each other. They fight. They still hate each other.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
They don't talk for 20 years, but they still send each other Christmas presents to show off how cool they are.
Yeah.
But
all women
God.
hold grudges.
Now I do want to bring up the fact that how big of a fucking nerd Michael B. Jordan is. Because there's one scene where they're at, like, this halfway house. It was either the halfway house, or no, it was at his mom's house. Because that was after they reconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in his room, you've got some anime posters up and stuff. And, the Naruto poster was incorrect, because it had Shippuden Naruto. And that wasn't a thing yet in 2002, when it took place. But, once it starts getting to the climaxes and stuff, like the fight choreography is decent. Granted, some of Dame's like boxing moves, Kevin did red pill me slightly because there's this one block move that Dame does that is so fucking stupid. That is not a good boxing block at all. And Kevin's like, what? That's probably what he had to do in the prison to protect himself. You never know. And I'm like, okay, I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there are some... Overall, most of the boxing was, movie boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the things. And then they have the... what I'm going to call the anime dimension.
There's a cool thing in the beginning of the movie where fucking... so we have Michael B. Jordan holding back his power level.
Yes.
And he's seeing the
openings. He's looking for the openings.
Every time an opening comes up,
he makes a note.
The Batman Arkham Asylum counter thing goes off over his head.
The camera zooms in on Don's face. He squints. He locks in on
You
how
see
the
like a kidney shot, and
Yeah.
you see like an open chin.
it's slow mos, and then is like, and Tessa Thompson
He sees the flaws in his
Bianca-
combos. Yes.
I also love that they both learn sign language.
Yes.
Bianca is like signing to him, just finish him already. Quit playing around. And then he's like, okay. And then he just like three hit combos him to death.
Because that round he lost. He was losing that round.
And then I love
Quote unquote, because he was down points. And then he's like, why are you smiling? You just lost that round. And he's like, checkmate. And he's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and I love how Duke's like, oh yeah, you sure? Okay, and then he does it, and he's like, all right, you got
Yeah,
it,
you got him.
you got him, kid.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the Dark Knight Returns Part 2 scene. I might be just talking to myself. The lizard people who live in the dumps. So Batman approaches
Yes.
them because he needs an army. And in order to gain their trust,
Oh,
he
yeah!
has to beat up the biggest asshole.
Yes.
And so one of the coldest quotes that he has is that, like, you're on an operation table and I'm the surgeon.
Yeah.
As he like systematically dismantles a human, not well, like
mutant,
this
a
mutant
lizard
guy,
mutant, yeah.
by just like attacking every
Every
piece
weak-
of his
so-
weakness and just breaking all of his bones.
Yeah.
But it was like that. He was like slow mo, dodge, duck, hit right in the rib, hook.
He does like a punch above at the eye, and he's like, you barely
And
gave
then
me a
he
scratch.
bleeds
And he's
and-
like, yeah, but it's the type of scratch that bleeds, and the blood keeps getting in his eyes.
Yeah,
and
it's-
it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. That fight, that's a good fight.
Yeah.
That's a good fight.
Oh yeah.
That's what that was the first fight in,
That was, yeah.
in Creed 3.
So because what's funny is like the rest of the movie is him coming at problems as a coach. He doesn't really become a fighter until near the end of the movie again.
It also, it's a little bit of him becoming a father too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming a father and kind of like this movie definitely injects some of like trying to remind people to be healthy about your own emotions and like past, because his wife is like, listen, if you don't talk about what's wrong, you're never going to get past it.
It
Right.
also it comes to it's about coming to terms with not giving up on your dreams, but like how beautiful it is to pass on your dream to someone else. Because like at this point of the story, Bianca's like hearing has progressed. I think she can still hear, right?
She can
But, like,
still
hearing
hear,
aids?
but at this point, she's like, I had to stop because if I kept going, then
She
I
would
would have
lose her.
completely.
So
lost
she's gone
my
into
hearing.
like a producer role.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit like that because Adonis isn't boxing anymore. He's retired. He's old. And so now it's up to him to kind of like lead the next generation of fighters, and he's watching
his daughter beat
yeah.
up other
Oh yeah. The
other deaf girls.
other deaf girls at school. I fucking love that bit because like, so this girl goes up to her, grabs her drawing, and just rips it for no reason. It's unprompted, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Kids
And-
do be like that sometimes.
And
Yeah.
then she's just like, fuck, and punches her right in the face. I was like, yeah! Box dad! And I really like the scene where him and Bianca are like doing the parent teacher conference about it. And
And he's like, yeah, she
He's-
defeated.
no, what's great is because when you're I don't know if everyone knows this, when you're doing American Sign Language, the way your eyes and your mouth are set up also indicates the tone
Yeah.
of what you're saying. So he's upset because like his kid got bullied and like
And she got in trouble.
well, and he's like, why is this an issue? She defended herself when this kid was bullying her. So he's got this like mad dog face, like angry face. And Bianca was like, okay, you're giving off a really bad tone with your sign. You need to stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she takes over and he's just like, okay, I still don't see what the problem is.
Yeah.
I really like that bit. And like, because you see him develop as he's helping teach his daughter, because at one point like she's like secretly watching a fight and he kind of has her come over and work on one of the bags, and he starts talking about like it's about controlling, it's not just about strength and power. You got to work on like controlling.
Yeah, so he
You're-
teaches like in silence through sign language.
Yep.
In like one of the most like clearest display of how to do a proper right straight.
Yeah.
Like I've seen. And it's like so just like easy to understand. Like you just need to watch that, and if you just want to learn how to do a right straight. But yeah, no. So now he teaches his daughter how to properly deck someone.
Yeah.
Well, what I like about that scene, because he's exemplifying like boxing isn't just about raw power,
Right.
but he's also saying like it's about control and controlling your emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like kind of like teaching himself while he's teaching her. Just like, I need to control my reaction to everything in order to move past like what's happening.
Yeah, because the guilt's with him for a while throughout this movie.
Yeah, and there's like, as the movie progresses, kind of like the amount of stuff to be guilty about goes up, and then like little hints at his past keep getting dropped and like interfering with his life, and he's like, I don't want to deal with it. I forgot about it. Let it die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's like, and Bianca's like, okay, obviously it's not dead if you're still this upset about it. But I mean, it still plays like any other boxing movie.
For sure.
The thing, I mentioned this to Mike while we were watching it. There is so much in this movie that before the Jonathan Majors Michael B. Jordan fight gets announced, we have so much material for a movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is an entire season of a show.
And it feels so quick. I did not feel like
I didn't
anything...
feel like it was quick. I felt like
I mean,
I was
I-
like, this is kind of a lot of information and like a lot of just kind of drama and storylines going on.
It could have been...
I was like,
I
I
was
thought
really-
2 hours had already gone by.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I was just enjoying the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, it was like... It felt really short overall, but not, like, in a bad way. It was just like, that was the right amount.
The
And then-
pacing was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never dragged or anything. I do want to bring up the anime dimension again because in interviews, and it's very apparent in the movie, he has taken like inspiration from different like fighting anime like Hajime no Ippo,
Yeah.
Megalobox, and stuff like that. And something that that you brought up, Kevin, that I agreed with was that, man, it's cool he brought in these anime elements. Problem is, he brought the exact same subtlety that anime has to like these bits. So it's like any like symbolism or whatever that's happening is so overt. It's like punching you in the face with it.
That goes with things.
And I mean, it's okay. I'm okay with it. It was still good, but I kind of wish that some of it was done a little bit better.
You would have rather had, like, the side characters explain what's going on.
No,
I want
no.
I wanted Duke cross-armed in the background just going, he's ready.
I wanted a gazelle punch, and then I wanted the what's it called? Have either of you seen Hajime no Ippo?
Yes.
Okay,
About 80 episodes before I was like, I got tired.
the one where he literally does the uppercut, and his fist almost touches the
Yeah.
the mat as it just goes
Yeah.
so low.
Yeah.
I wanted one of those, but I
Sorry, guys, there's no Dempsey roll in this.
No, there is no Dempsey roll.
You get close to it.
that would have been good.
That
you
would've
did.
been
You
so
do
good.
hear a jet engine every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I will say overall, the story is good. Characters are well done. The story is good, but it's pretty basic. Choreography is about what you would expect from a boxing movie. It's really hard to get convincing boxing fights in a movie. And I think the movie that did it the best was Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think that felt the most realistic, and I'm saying that with big ass quotation marks because, like, unless you're willing to pay the insurance for your actors to get beat the fuck
Get
up
bodied.
and to beat the shit out of each other, then you're not going to get realistic fighting. But I'm waiting for that movie. I'm waiting for actors who are like, no, I want to actually fight them. And then, no. I want a boxing movie where they don't know how it ends. They write the story in the lead up, and then they film the climax, and depending on how that fight goes determines how they end the movie. So it becomes an actual like boxing record between these actors.
You,
So they
you run a
just-
boxing simulation.
Are you saying they just do a Showtime interview thing where they show both of the boxers just working out and doing their
Yes.
side stories?
Yeah.
And then they just...
Well, I mean, they have that in here, and what's funny
I
is
know.
that it's 100% accurate to how it works.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Is there any like non-spoiler talk you guys want to get into?
Mike and I can do a small aside referencing Ant-Man and Wasp. Jonathan Majors is fucking cut like
Yeah.
a Greek god in this movie, and he's underutilized in Quantum Mania because he doesn't take any of his clothes off.
100%.
Like, because like the way the timeline works in real life, we saw Creed 3 and then we saw Ant-Man and Wasp, and we were like, he's fucking huge under that dumb
Yeah, he is.
dorky costume.
Yeah. Like, he's so jacked and they just won't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny because they're like, man, he's pretty old. I don't know if he's. Meanwhile,
Like
he
he's
takes
supposed
his
to, like he's supposed to be older than Creed.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like he's super underdog in this movie because he's way past his prime.
But he's built like a fucking brick wall attached to a truck.
I know.
Good God.
It's just a semi-truck ready to rev.
Yeah, because he has like a boxing match in which he's fighting another fighter who's like 100 pounds lighter than him.
Okay,
and I was
yeah.
like,
Hold
there's
on.
no way that they're both
In this-
heavyweights.
yeah, in the
no, no,
same
I
weight
wanna-
class. Yeah.
I want to bring this up. There is a heavyweight champion in the movie. There is no fucking way he is in the right weight class.
Yeah,
There is
100%.
no way.
100%.
Also, this movie doesn't understand how worldwide heavyweight champion stuff works because God, what's the word? The
unified.
unified heavyweight champion of the world. Yes.
Yeah.
Um
Just got all the belts.
so in boxing, there are multiple boxing leagues. There's like the WBL, the WBO, and then there's something else. So there are 3 boxing leagues, and when you become the unified heavyweight champ, that's you winning in every league.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Dame wins 1 round. The new unified heavyweight champ, and they
Yeah.
give him all his belts, and it's like, that's not how this works. It's
No.
different leagues. You don't win them all in one match.
Yeah, he would just get one of the smaller belts.
Yeah, but still, yeah, watching that fight, you're just like, how the fuck are they in the same weight class? There's no fucking way. Because I think weight classes in boxing only range like,
Then like 50 pounds, I think.
yeah, it's like 15 or 20.
Yeah, because like
They've gotten tighter over time. They used to be a lot wider, I think, many years ago.
yeah.
And, just because safety and all that.
But like Jonathan Majors, I haven't seen Devotion, or Lovecraft, something whatever.
Okay. So heavyweight
Mm-hmm.
is any boxer that is more than 200 pounds.
That's it?
That's literally how it works.
God damn.
It is, yeah. Heavyweight is anyone more than 200 pounds. Listen, there's a lot of muscle you can pack. There's
Yeah.
no way that other guy is 200 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a sleeper build.
But he had the coolest boxing entrance. He had the fucking guy in the Calavera mask and the smoke
man.
bombs.
He's a known like Mexican artist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he fucking walks in with the swagger. It's like, oh, that's so fucking rad. That was kind of up there with like the one UFC guy who walks in and as soon as he gets into the win, he does the Rock Lee pose.
Yeah.
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Adesanya, yeah.
And,
One of my favorite MMA fighters.
But any more non-spoiler talk?
Jonathan Majors, like I said, I haven't seen Devotion or Lovecraft, whatever.
Lovecraft Country. He actually
Lovecraft
does,
Country.
He does a good job in Lovecraft Country.
Apparently, he's also pretty huge, but he's like huge he's been huge forever. But like he trained extra hard,
Yeah.
especially for this movie.
It's very funny in Lovecraft Country. He's supposed to be like a kind of. He's not like a super nerd, but he's kind of more of a nerdy guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still like built.
Nor did I see Loki. But like, so this is like kind of my first exposure to him.
Loki, he's still in nerd clothing.
Yeah, he's still. You know what? Small also Ant-Man reference. Did you guys remember Jupiter Ascending?
Yes.
No.
Is that the movie with Chadwick Boseman dressed as like a god that knew everything?
No. Jupiter Ascending is the one with Channing Tatum.
Yeah, Channing Tatum and Mila
And
Kunis.
he's a half wolf hybrid guy. Chadwick Boseman isn't even in that movie.
Which is the one where he plays like the god of knowledge or whatever. It's like a desert one, right? Is it like the new gods, whatever? But
Okay.
Chadwick Boseman?
Jonathan Majors reminds me of his character reminds me of that. He's just a buff dude that contains the knowledge of the universe as Kang, and also in like Loki. But yeah, no, Jonathan Majors' performance,
Gods of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt. Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty good in Creed 3. His boxing is like a little inelegant.
No, it's
Because like he does wide swings, his hips don't stay in place, or like his hips
His hips don't lie.
move. His hips move very like laterally whenever he's like swinging.
the block that kind of he does this thing where he puts his arms kind of like a wall, like he makes a wall with his forearms in front of his face, like horizontally.
Yeah.
It completely blocks like 75% of his vision, but like it's not a terrible block. It's just that one uppercut and you're done. So yeah, it's definitely like prison boxing.
Yeah, because he's like been unprofessionally boxing for I don't know how long, and like he hasn't had like proper technical training because he
while.
couldn't live through it because he was too busy in being in prison.
In his first like post-prison meal with Adonis, he's like, I've stayed in shape, and then he takes off his shirt and it's just like
Glistening like
Wasn't he doing like kind of just like super pull-ups?
yeah.
What's the word for that? It's like burpees on a bar, but he would get up to his chin to pull up and then just push all the way up into the sky.
Yeah.
And we were all just like, shit!
Yeah.
The one where he's got the two ropes and he's just like,
He's just pulling himself
Yeah,
up
like
in order to
the
climb.
first time you see the man with his shirt off, you're like, God damn!
Yeah.
And then he starts going into, which is, because like he did an interview with Men's Health to show off like him and his personal trainer, whose name is Rhino, do some like insane, just kind of like calisthenic stuffs where he's just like, he's doing chin-ups and then he's doing like leg swings and whatever, and like just really work on his like rock hard chiseled abs.
yeah, boxing, like you do use weights and stuff, but you also do a lot of like natural weight
Yeah.
workouts. Like it's more about tone than it is about like bulk. Because if you get too bulky, then you slow down and you're not as reactive. But okay, everyone ready for spoilers?
Creed's a good movie. Go watch it.
Yes,
Yes.
go watch it.
3, 2, 1. So when Dame got knocked into the giant prison bars and
That was great.
enclosing the ring, that was pretty good. Or when Adonis got pushed back against prison bars, and then Dame got pushed back against the pillow mat that they made at the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some of the anime quote unquote subtlety. That's
They're both standing on, or they're both sitting at their corners, and then it just match cuts to them as children.
And then any slow-mo shot is also really good.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, because like talking is a free action in an anime fight.
Yes.
So what we see in the final fight is just like 2 rounds, and then they enter the anime dimension on round 3.
And then it goes to the end
when
round.
When time resumes and the time stops, We're on round 11.
No,
Yeah,
that's
we're
my
on the last final
we're
round or something
we,
like that, yeah.
You watch the first 2 rounds live, and
Yeah.
then an anime, and then we're going into round 12, and the three
We
of us
was
are
like-
like, what the fuck? Because, like, with the first 2 rounds, I'm like, okay, Adonis won. I think Dane won that one. And
Yeah.
then round 12, it's like, okay, then it has to be a knockout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what's cool about this movie is that it tasks you in, like, because, like, you don't fucking see Jonathan Majors at all in the first and second one, and he's never referenced at all. This movie is tasked with trying to build an audience connection with a character we've never heard of and convince us that these two were brothers. Like, these two were close, and
Yeah.
that this is a very highly emotional fight. And so, like, I think it does a fantastic job, especially in the final fight. It's just like 2 people. This is the real brothers' war.
Yeah.
Fucking Urza
Magic reference.
God.
Kevin had to put that in there.
He had to drop it somewhere.
I mean, that's what I said in my head when I was watching this movie. It's like, this is the real brothers' war. It's like these 2 people that, like, loved each other, and you can, like, see it in their faces. Just like the way they look in their eyes, the way Jonathan Majors, he has like this kind of like pouting thing that he does.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit because of the
He
mouth
had-
guard, but he was like, he's just like always.
He has the same exact, like, expression he does after each round, where it looks like he's like, oh, okay, all right, so that's what we're doing. It's the
Yeah.
it's every time, and
I-
it made me laugh every time I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but throughout the entire movie, like, I could tell they were mad at each other, but I never felt like they hated each other, which was, I think, was good, because that's kind of what it is. Like, they're
It isn't. It's kind of like you could kind of just say that this is kind of like how men deal with their
Emotions.
emotions
Yeah.
and like interpersonal problems. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a stereotypical thing of like just like we hash it out with our fists and then we come out as Goku and Vegeta.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you referenced like earlier, Ivan Drago as the Vegeta because like
Victor Drago.
Victor Drago, because like Adonis now has to get back into the trenches, and he's basically taking the training cues that he learned from Rocky
Yeah.
of going out into the desert, doing some really hard shit, and then he like spars with Victor Drago,
Yeah.
who's still huge.
yes,
And like it's like so it like these mini character arcs are so like fascinating.
And
I
it's-
liked him taking off his limiter, just taking off the helmet
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
for the next round.
No, there's one thing I actually really do like in him and Drogo's interaction during sparring is like
Drago.
At one point, Victor's like, guys, he needs more training. We need to stop. Because he's like beating Adonis down.
Yeah.
And like Adonis is not able to defend himself. And Victor's like, this is sparring. I cannot keep just beating him down. That's
Yes. It's not training anymore.
no,
It's just
it's just a beat down.
yeah.
So one thing that I did like about the anime dimension part was that it goes dead silent, and you
Yeah.
just hear them. You hear the
Yeah.
punches, you hear them going like at each other and shit.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yes.
Fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I wish more movies were willing to do that, but they're not. Like a lot of movies nowadays, I feel are so scared. I think
Of doing something weird.
Yeah.
of not only just
Or just something that's out of ordinary.
yeah, because like I said this during our Dune review, where movies that are like comfortable with being silent or having parts where no like sound is happening are brave. Because nowadays, like with Marvel and shit, every movie feels like they have to have something going on 24/7. Some sound, some big
Some way to
score or
keep your
something.
attention.
Yes, it has to happen. They never there aren't a lot of movies that are willing to let it breathe or let something like happen on its own. So
I think a good director, and I think Michael B. Jordan has like learned this because he's also like kind of just like a big film nerd. He loves everything. He has learned to kind of just like figure out what emotion this scene needs, and then just like silence completely everything and then just like isolate that.
yeah.
So yeah, during the climactic fight between Dame and Dawn, everything goes quiet and it's just them two in the ring.
Yeah, I think for a directorial debut,
This
he
is
did a good job.
Him and Ryan Coogler have like kind of just great banger directorial debuts.
I would say Michael B. Jordan did a great job. I think something I said, and this is probably more of just because it was a boxing movie. I think Michael B. Jordan could benefit from working with like a fight coordinator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because, like,
yeah,
the-
I
'cause,
think,
like,
I
would-
think, yeah, I think a
Because
fight
like the
coordinator.
fight choreography is like kind of like the weakest part.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he could benefit from working with a fight coordinator a little bit more, getting a little bit more experience, like how like fight scenes and the choreography.
He needs
should work
to
better.
talk to the guys who make John Wick and be
Yes.
like, okay, I need this in my boxing film.
You
And
mean,
then
you mean the fight coordinators who directed their own?
yeah,
movie?
right.
Talk to the guys who made the raid.
Oh yeah.
And then I think I very much appreciated the anime influence, but he can also keep the subtlety from normal things. Besides that,
The mother dying was rough.
yeah, I mean,
just happened.
you knew it was going to happen. Though.
Yeah.
When
I mean, they give you hints, but then like it just happens. And you're like, oh shoot, okay.
There's also like a part where, cause like in his training montage, he punches a tree, and then I was like, this Ippo loving motherfucker,
Yeah.
he's gonna
Yeah.
try to catch leaves as they fall down. I mean, it doesn't happen. He's punching a tree to work on his like knuckle strength,
Yeah.
and also just like to break a tree because that's Sigma. That's so fucking alpha, dude.
Oh, one kind of thing I had was there was a odd amount of CGI in the movie. For certain fight scenes and for certain impacts, there was like it wasn't just CGI, it was like obvious CGI. And like for certain impacts that's fine, but then like there were scenes where like they were doing like matches and there was not a single live person in that audience except for like the crews.
Right.
And I felt that was a little weird, but again, it's not something that really breaks the movie for me. It's kind of more
Yeah,
of like
it-
I mean, the
it
climax
didn't-
of the movie had no audience in it.
no,
Yeah.
it was all PS2 avatars.
Heck yeah.
7 copies. They're all doing the same animation.
Yeah,
Those,
but I mean,
those 2K audience members.
again, not a break for me, but just more of like a nitpick. Then I was like, that's a little odd, but okay, I can work with it.
I like his addition to the directorial pool that we have. Just a bunch of anime nerds plugging our beloved tropes to the world for the world to see. I pointed at this out like kind of just like when we were over. Is like he has like these kind of cliched shots that I'm all for. Like him and Dame, both looking at each other mirrored in the
Yeah.
locker room.
I did like that shot actually.
Yeah, no, that's like a cool, kind of like a poster-esque shot. Them just like looking at each other from across the ring in their corners. Like shit like that.
Yeah. Overall, honestly, I would recommend this movie. If you like boxing movies, it's worth a watch. And I am looking forward to seeing what Michael B. Jordan's going to do in the future.
There's so
I do hope he either develops himself or is given movies outside of boxing,
yeah.
because I would like to see how he handles some other stuff.
From what
Yeah, that could be interesting.
From what I understand, it's not like there is, because like Sylvester Stallone doesn't own Rocky anymore. And it was kind of like a big thing for him to not be in Creed 3.
Yes.
But like he is very open to Creed 4 if there's something that if like the story is good, because like yeah, Sylvester Stallone has seen the script and like what they've written, but like because he's such a like he's like a good artist, he's like there's no room for Rocky. This script is airtight. There's no room for Rocky in here.
It's his baby. You know, he just
Yeah,
wants
and
it to...
it's like he doesn't want just like a random ass cameo. He doesn't want to be in just like the
Right.
background, because there's no reason for him to be there.
Yeah.
So, but he's very much open for Creed 4. And like where we're left off in the movie, I feel like there's as of right now, I don't feel like there's a lot we could go from here.
I feel like this is the end of Adonis' story.
Right.
I feel like if they're gonna do a Creed 4, I can already call it Adonis is older and it's about his new trainee. That's basically gonna become the next Rocky.
Yeah,
That's probably where they would go with it, but I would be very satisfied if they just stopped.
I mean, like I was satisfied with Creed 2.
Yeah.
Because like it's a brilliant like kind of just like finishing arc for Rocky, like the character, and then Creed kind of like accomplishes the goal of like his spin-off, which is to kind of just like honor his late father, and then by him kind of just like fighting that Drago fight, like kind of just like completely bookends the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I've kind of said everything I had about the movie. I mean, it's not like a super deep movie or anything,
Yeah.
but so, I mean, at this point, go see it,
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's about family.
Family.
but not Vin Diesel.
It's about family. I was it's about Star Wars.
Yeah. It's about Star Trek. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, you could follow us at Twitter at Buns Cinema. patreon.com/cinemabuns. I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
No.
Here's an movie podcast. Some are pretty good, but